not sure what to do after agreeing to try to work things out with husband after he cheated for the third time. Hi, I was directed here from our relationship advice. I copied and pasted my post for clarity's sake. Sorry in advance for the long post. Husband cheated for the third time in our nearly 11 years together. I thought we could work it out, but almost a year later I'm not so sure. Sorry for the long post TLDR at the end. It's a pretty complicated situation with a lot of backstory, so I'll try to keep it short and to the point, but it'll probably be long. Sorry. My husband, 32M, and I, 31F, got together in 2009. We both had our issues, but we were both trying to better ourselves and we were good together. Fast forward a year or two later and he cheated for the first time. It was Father's Day and he was basically a father figure for his brother. He said he was going to band practice and he wouldn't be able to be reached until later in the evening. I had a funny gut feeling but wrote it off as my trust issues from the past. I made him a homemade card for the role he played all his life. I went to where he said he'd be about the time he said he would be done to surprise him and he wasn't there. I checked our regular hangout spot and nothing. I started getting a bit more suspicious because he had been talking with an ex on FB recently. Long story short, I met him about an hour later and told him I tried to surprise him with the card but couldn't find him. He broke down and said he had to go borrow money from his boss and was ashamed. It later came out he had met said ex to talk and they ended up kissing. A year before I'd come to the realization that I was asexual and told him. Our sex life had slows, especially after having 2 kids, but I wanted to make things better for both of us. I explained, many times, that I had a low libido and didn't experience sexual attraction but that I enjoyed sleeping with him for the intimacy and pleasure it gave him. He would say he understood and get upset a few months later and we'd talk again. I tried to talk to him about his feelings and facilitate ways to make him more comfortable and satisfied so many times. I came into it being understanding of his feelings and letting him process. He used my asexuality as an excuse. Said he may need to sleep with this girl, or someone, a few times to see if he could be in a relationship where someone didn't want him sexually. He said it may take some time for that to happen. I gave him time and space to figure this out while trying to reconcile my feelings of betrayal. He decided he didn't need to sleep around and got her to send him screenshots of the messages he deleted. They were far from how he'd described them. He lied and said we hadn't slept together in over a year, that I'd given him permission to sleep around. This was before we had had any convo about that when I wasn't at work I was sleeping or out with friends, and that he did all the housework and child rearing when he hadn't been helping at home for a few years, and I had absolutely zero friends besides my mom and twin sister who I'd go to dinner with once or twice a year. He said the man and creator in him was dead, but around her he had come alive, etc. etc. He bragged about how much he likes to satisfy women and how he loves to give girls head. He was basically trying to get her to go out with him and sleep with him. I was pretty angry obviously, and he stayed at his mom's for a few days. He blamed it on depression. Said he'd been depressed but hadn't been able to admit it. We, again, decided to work it out. We had a kind of honeymoon period. He told her he couldn't talk anymore and blocked her, got on medication and went to a therapy session. Then he was in a very serious accident in December. Broke his neck in 3 places, small brain bleed, broken arm, 5 broken ribs, you get the idea, and I focused all of my attention on keeping us above water and helping him recover. He is all better now and has been since March, and slowly all the things he said he would work on has stopped happening. He isn't helping out at home, he stopped his meds and never went back to therapy, claiming he thinks he is cured. I've been working on being more physically affectionate, but he isn't interested unless he wants sex or thinks I'm mad. He's always on his phone. This has always been an issue, and I feel like he doesn't put in any effort. On Mother's Day he spent all day working on his new car while I stayed with the kids, and on my day this past Saturday I told him all I wanted was to watch a movie together or something. I went and bought my cake and some Chinese for us to eat. Cleaned up the house, and when the kids were in bed he bailed at the last minute, claiming he was too tired. Beyond all that, now that we are out of the honeymoon phase, I'm just not happy. I've been trying, but I feel like my heart isn't in it this last month. I don't trust him. The more I think about everything, the more manipulative it seems. I feel super alone. But I told him I'd try. Is it wrong for me to change my mind? I feel like breaking it off or being really upset this long after everything is stupid. Not to mention neither of us can afford to move out right now. I just don't know what to do and I'm stressing really bad. I'm afraid I've wasted years of my life being too stupid and naive to leave him. I'm definitely not perfect, but I've never cheated on him, and of all the things he could do, he knows cheating, or more generally lying and manipulating, is my one big deal breaker. TLDR, my husband cheated on me for the third time in September last year. I agreed to try to work it out, but the more I reflect on everything, the more I feel I've been manipulated and duped. Would it be wrong for me to bring it up again and possibly change my mind, even though he hasn't cheated again, that I know of, since then? I feel like he's not putting much effort in anymore, and that all the excuses and reasons he's given me in the past for cheating and lying have been bullshit and just plain manipulation. I don't know if I can ever trust him again, and I feel like maybe I've fallen out of love with him because of it all. I just need some advice and opinions. Thanks. For God's sakes, leave this man. He sounds awful. So many red flags and you're just falling for it. There is nothing to fix because he doesn't care. It hurts, but that is the truth. If he loved and cared about you, he would not do all of this. Dump him and move on. Whether on purpose or not, he's habitually selfish and will repeat this cycle until you leave, or years of difficult therapy, which he doesn't want. Leaving is a good idea, but if your conscience is going to be an issue, make him go to couple counseling and leave if doesn't. I hate to sound heartless, but I'm sure the end result will be the same either way. You two don't seem to have any predefined boundaries. He seems to think he's still single and you seem to look the other way, which tells him he can do as he pleases and you'll not do anything but talk. Maybe time to bring him back to reality with the talk. 3 times? Why are you still with him? I honestly don't know. I'm bad at confrontation and I'm a people pleaser. I can be pretty stupid and naive at times, and I fell for his excuses. I'm also scared of how it will affect my kids. I'm good at acting like things are fine and being composed around my kids and pretty much anyone, but he is not. He would moan and cry and try to talk about it in front of them, and I hated it. I hated how anxious it made them. He's not a terrible father, he loves our kids, and I think I've been afraid mostly of hurting them. I used to be a people pleaser till I realized one day that it was affecting me emotionally and draining all of my energy. You need to take time for yourself. I understand the position you are in with your children. The only thing that I can tell you in that respect is that children are more perceptive than we can ever imagine, and they may not know what is actually going on, but they do know that their parents are not getting along. You deserve better than to have a partner who has cheated on you more than once and will continue to cheat on you down the road. I've had the talk with him many times. After I caught him sexting after our daughter was born, I very nearly left him. I went to my sister's house for a night and only came back the next day because my daughter was so little I didn't want to drag her around and I had work. While away I had every intention on leaving him, but he convinced me to try again. This last time I honestly think the only reason I stayed is a mixture of fear about what the future would hold, concern for my kids, and a kind of guilt about all this somehow being my fault. It just felt easier at the time. He doesn't think he's still single. I think he just doesn't care and feels like as long as I don't find out, or he can manipulate his way out of it if I do, it'll be fine and I'll stay. I mean, he hasn't been wrong so far, and I really feel like this will happen again. There's also, likely, a ton I don't know about. I just wish it hadn't taken me this long to realize it. It's the 3rd time that you know of, and it won't be the last. You already showed him that you will take him back even if he is a horrible person, so he has no incentive to put in effort anymore. Cut your losses and leave him. Thanks for listening so far. If story have an update, We will post here. Like, subscribe to our channel for upcoming stories.